Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are focusing on the growing coordination between Turkey and Iran on the Gaza crisis. It's a development that has captured the attention of global observers. From the outside, the exterior of this partnership appears as two powerful nations aligning themselves in the midst of one of the most critical conflicts of our time. Turkey positions itself as the voice of Muslim leadership, while Iran projects itself as the steadfast supporter of Palestinian resistance. Together, they create a picture of unity and determination, standing firmly against Israel's actions and challenging the dominance of Western-led negotiations. This exterior view is what many in the international community first noticed to rivals in history, setting aside differences for a shared cause. Looking at the interior, the cooperation between Turkey and Iran is built on necessity rather than pure friendship. Both nations are aware of their ideological and geopolitical differences, yet they find common ground in their support for Gaza. For Turkey, it is about presenting itself as the defender of the oppressed and appealing to its domestic base that strongly identifies with the Palestinian cause. For Iran, it is about proving that it remains central to resistance movements and that its influence stretches across the region. This short but clear interior calculation shows that their coordination is less about trust and more about strategy, where both parties gain legitimacy and leverage. The performance of this partnership has already been visible on multiple levels. Turkey and Iran have coordinated statements at international forums, voiced strong opposition to Israel's bombardment of Gaza, sought to position themselves as essential voices in calls for a ceasefire. Beyond words, both nations have tried to provide humanitarian assistance to Gaza and increase diplomatic pressure on Western powers to limit their support for Israel. This performance is amplified by their ability to combine resources, Turkey's diplomatic channels, and Iran's regional resistance network. The outcome is a louder, more powerful stance that is difficult for others to ignore, making the performance of this coordination impactful both politically and symbolically. When examining the safety features of this partnership, it becomes clear that both countries are maneuvering carefully to avoid direct escalation. Turkey, as a NATO member, cannot afford to engage in direct confrontation with Israel or the United States, so it relies on diplomacy and humanitarian action as protective shields. Iran, on the other hand, counts on its network of allied groups across the Middle East as deterrents, ensuring that it cannot be isolated without consequences. These safety measures are the mechanisms that allow both states to act boldly without overstepping into dangerous territory. The ability to push limits while maintaining safeguards is what allows their coordination to continue without collapsing under external pressure. The unique selling points of this coordination are also clear to see. Turkey brings to the table its image as a mediator, a humanitarian actor, and a nation with global diplomatic reach. Iran brings consistency in its narrative of resistance and its strong ideological ties to groups on the ground. When combined, these selling points form a narrative of Muslim unity in defense of Gaza, which resonates deeply with populations across the Middle East and beyond. This unique positioning allows them to stand out from Western actors, who are often viewed with skepticism when dealing with Palestinian issues. The unity, although fragile, provides symbolic weight that neither country could achieve alone. Of course, there is a price to be paid for this coordination. Turkey risks friction with its Western allies, especially the United States and NATO partners who remain aligned with Israel. Such moves could harm its economic and security relationships in the long run. Iran, already under heavy sanctions, risks deeper economic isolation and potentially harsher responses from Western powers. Yet for both nations, the political and symbolic benefits outweigh the costs. For Erdogan, the stance strengthens his popularity domestically and his leadership image in the Muslim world. For Iran, it reinforces its legitimacy as the guardian of resistance and ensures its influence remains unchallenged. The price is high, but the payoff is higher in terms of political capital. In conclusion, Turkey and Iran's coordination on the Gaza crisis represents a pragmatic yet powerful partnership. It is not based on deep trust, but on shared goals that elevate their influence and strengthen their roles in regional politics. Their combined efforts create pressure on Israel, give new energy to the Palestinian cause, and present an alternative to Western-led diplomacy. While challenges remain and contradictions exist, The urgency of the Gaza crisis has made their cooperation both necessary and impactful. This alliance, even if temporary, has the potential to reshape the regional balance of power and redefine how the world approaches the Palestinian struggle in the years to come.